The latest rampage hitting the heart of New York City yesterday. 4 people were killed. Witnesses in the line of fire say it was awful and devastating.
I heard all these loud bangs, no idea what it was. I turned around, all these people were like running.
The building personnel said, stay in place. There's an active shooter. Don't leave, get away from the windows. Your adrenaline rushes and, it's pretty scary when the building says, don't go by the windows.
We rush the window in the direction where the helicopters are going, and then we look and there's cop cars everywhere, and then someone pulls up Twitter and we find out that there is an active shooter. This is awful and devastating, and there frankly is nothing else to think but why couldn't this have been prevented? Why was this person allowed to get a gun? What kind of systems were in place that allowed this to happen in the heart of Midtown East? It should never have happened in the first place.
Yeah, that should never have happened. Police are now investigating the shooting inside an office building in Midtown Manhattan that killed at least 4 people, including an NYPD police officer. Now, the building where the shooting took place is home to several companies like Blackstone, the NFL, and KPMG. Surveillance video shows the suspect, Shane Tamura, walking into the Park Avenue high-rise armed with a high-powered rifle. Tamura died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound at the scene. Now, the New York City Police Department released this photo of fallen officer Dinarul Islam. In a statement on social media, the department says he was protecting New Yorkers from danger when his life was tragically cut short, and that his legacy will be honored forever. New York City Mayor Eric Adams confirmed that authorities recovered a note from Tamura at the scene.
The note alluded to that he felt he had CTE, a known brain injury for those who participate in contact sports. He appeared to have blamed the NFL for his injury. The NFL headquarters is located in the building at 345 Park Avenue. From our preliminary investigation, he took the wrong elevator bank up to the NFL headquarters. Instead, it took him to Rudin Management, and that is where he carried out additional shootings and took the lives of additional employees.
I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano, who joins me now from the scene there in New York City. Lilia, we understand the shooter drove across country to carry out the shooting, but what else are we learning?
That's right, Mugo. What we've learned from the NYPD is that he started his journey on Saturday in Las Vegas, where he was living. He grew up in Southern California, but was living in Las Vegas, reportedly with his family. That he drove from Vegas to Colorado, then made it to Nebraska and drove from Nebraska to Iowa on Sunday, and finally arrived in New Jersey just 2 hours before the shooting happened. The shooting took place at around just before 6:30 p.m. Right here, you can see behind me some of the shattered glass from those shots. What's striking is to see those images that he's just walking with that military-style rifle through those doors in broad daylight, and immediately, according to the NYPD commissioner, started shooting, killing people in the lobby, then proceeding to, that's where Officer Islam was killed, as well as other victims. Then he went into an elevator. According to Mayor Eric Adams, as you said, he got on the wrong floor, if the motive was in fact to target the NFL, and killed one of those victims. This floor, the company that was there is a real estate company, Rudin Management. Then he walked to the end of that hallway and then turned the gun on himself. We're also learning about another victim, Wesley LePartner, who is an executive, very beloved by her company, Blackstone. We read a statement from Blackstone earlier saying that she was brilliant, that she was passionate, generous, and deeply respected. This is somebody who graduated summa cum laude from Yale University in 2003, who worked in Goldman Sachs, who had multiple board positions, including as a trustee of the Met Museum, just voted in February. We confirmed with one of her friends that she is the mother of 2 children and was still married to her college sweetheart.
Gosh, that is so devastating. You talked about
Officer Islam also has 2 children,
yeah,
and his wife was pregnant. I wanted to make sure.
Goodness gracious. Do we know anything about the other two victims? I know you mentioned the woman and then the officer as well. Anything else about those other two victims?
We are waiting to hear more details. One of the victims was an employee of this company, Rudin Management. They sent out a letter to their employees asking for people not to comment and to respect. But we are working on confirming that name. This was a woman. We know that there were two women victims, that there was Officer Islam and then another male victim. We also know that one of the victims shot, who was not killed, who is in stable condition, is an employee of the NFL, as Roger Goodell put out in a statement earlier today.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll continue to get more information about this as the day moves along. Lilia, Luciano in New York City for us. Thank you so much today for your reporting. Now let's bring in Anna Schecter. She is a senior coordinating producer for our crime and public safety unit. Anna, the question here is, where does an investigation of this scale even begin when it comes to learning the factors that ultimately led to the shooting?
Well, it's a great question, and there are different categories and lanes of this investigation. But we have to go back and retrace his steps. This is a case where this is an individual who drove all the way across the country. Yeah. And I'm wondering if he might have left clues of his intent. And this is just a reminder to the public that law enforcement does rely on the public. If you see something, say something, that is very real. And just recently we had an individual who was arrested and charged for obtaining explosive devices, and he allegedly wanted to use IEDs, improvised explosive devices, in Manhattan. Now, he would have been like a lone wolf, but somebody called the police and law enforcement was able to take action. In this case, it is extraordinary that an individual could, with that weapon, that long gun that you saw in the photo, drive all the way into Midtown Manhattan, walk down the street with the weapon out in the open, not concealed in any way, and walk into the building and carry this out. So, of course, the retracing of the steps is going to be important, and there are going to be red flags that were missed that will be found, because this extraordinary thing, as the witness said so eloquently, this never should have happened. And there's going to be a review looking back at how this destruction could have been carried out by one individual in broad daylight in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah, certainly that photo there of the suspect just walking into the building with that huge weapon on his hand, and no one stopped him as he walked into the building. It's very shocking. But I want to ask Anna, what sticks out to you the most about this case?
So many things, but just to boil it down, what we were just discussing, I mean, the gun, I'm wondering if people thought it was a toy gun just because it's so brazen to be walking like that. The fact that no one noticed it is interesting. I also want to add to the timeline that we've been going through. Before he got into that elevator bay, he shot and took out someone who likely had the power to sort of shut down the elevator and would have prevented him from going up to that 33rd floor. Yeah. Now, of course, he had already shot and killed multiple people, but that could have saved another life. But it just goes to show that a lone wolf who has luck on his or her side can carry something like this out. Last December, we had Luigi Mangione. Everybody was shocked. Here we have yet another attack carried out in broad daylight with security cameras all around. And it just speaks to this moment in society. In the intro, you laid out all these other high-profile violent acts. You know, we just saw the data come out for 2024 in terms of violent crimes, and see how homicide is down, aggravated assault is down. It's trending down towards pre-pandemic levels. But, you know, it really doesn't feel like that to a lot of Americans who are experiencing these. And I think it's important to continue to press law enforcement on tactics, on training, and on preparedness, since this continues to happen so often.
A very important point there, Anna Schecter. Thank you so much for your reporting.